the most truthful work I've ever done is just letting my body speak to me instead of trying to morph it or make it feel okay through manipulative modalities. And I've always done that. And I'm a naturopath, and whilst I love all my herbs and things, I've done all of the herbal medicines and I've done all of this and that. And I was like, why do I still feel sad? Or why do I feel still this feeling of anxiety? And it's because I hadn't actually listened to what my body wants to say to me. And through your meditations, I was able to have this space to not feel rushed, to not have a time limit. I could do it over and over. And even if I'm in the car, I can have it playing and just let my body just have its space and time to talk to me.
Imagine discovering a pathway that cuts through the noise of trying to heal, to instead offer you a clear, revolutionary initiation into your most connected, abundant, loved, and purpose-filled self. A place where your dreams transform into personal reality. I'm Allura Halliwell, founder of the Consciousness Method, and it's with deep gratitude that I connect with beautiful souls who have already experienced this transformative method firsthand. They'll share how it has profoundly changed their lives and led them into inner truth. Hello, beautiful Becky. I'm so happy to chat with you today.
Me too. Yeah. I was going to add in there before. I hope I'm not cutting you off, but I was going to say that it's such a joy to do this with you because it truly has been one of the most incredible things I've ever done in my life, this course with you. And I've done quite a few things, you know, you do the courses and the wellness courses and the this and the that, but nothing comes close to the gifts that I've gotten from your course. So this is such a joy to do this with you.
Oh, and such a joy for me to have been on this journey with you because we've sort of known each other for a little while outside of this space, and then it just aligned that it was sort of time, I felt, for you to move into the container, and we connected. How would you say you were in your life in that time when we kind of met? What was sort of going on that was maybe unsettling or creating some, stress or fracture in your life?
Yeah. Well, we moved onto some land and we were homeschooling. And whilst I thought in my mind that's what I wanted to do, in reality, the environment did flare. Things were always there. I'd always had a bit of anxiety and a bit of OCD. I had that since I was a child. But since moving here, it flared for me. And I was like, whoa, I don't feel good. And I'm finding it so hard to be present. I was like, I just find it very hard to just sit and just be. I was always trying to be somewhere else in my mind. And so being in this environment at first, I definitely flared it. And then doing the course, I've learned so much about myself and how much of a gift it actually was. Because at first I was like, oh, no, what's going on? I've made these mistakes. I should have moved here. And so these layers of shame were coming on top of what I was feeling. And then it was just this overwhelming compoundment of different things I was feeling. And then when I did the course, I was like, oh, wow. No, actually, this is perfect. So perfect now because I feel like I could be anywhere and I'll be okay. You know, the environment certainly flared what I was feeling, but now it's okay. I can be anywhere because as long as I've got myself and I can come back to myself, and I'm never going to get it from an environment or person or thing, validation, nothing's going to give you the safety that comes from your own self. I know it sounds really cheesy, but it's really true. Everything you say, it's so true. Like it's always going to be from you. And I've learned that, like, yeah, I mean, I could be in the bush or I could be with people and it's still going to be the same thing.
You've had like a radical awakening to your authenticity in this journey. Like I've really witnessed you go from being uncertain about who you are into that real inner knowing, not uncertain about who you are, but wobbly around the connection to you on some levels. And you've really stepped into that full connection and authenticity of the gift of you. So how do you feel the processes and things we step through really gave you that access point in some ways?
Yeah. I feel like the access point for me was when you said to me, I need you to be really truthful. And that was when, for me, I was like, oh, truthful. What is my truth? What do I even want? And I had to be really truthful about my relationships with my partner even, and how I feel towards my kids and parenting. How do I feel being a parent and all of those things? And it was brutal. But it was wonderful to be, and all the exercises you gave were wonderful too, because the exercise you gave me, it went beyond what my mind wanted to say. You gave me these beautiful journaling exercises, and I remember sitting there going, wow, like these things were just pouring out of me that I didn't actually know were in there. That was wonderful too. And sometimes I was like, oh, I wonder why she's giving me this exercise to do. And then when I would do it, I would feel halfway through, oh, I get it now. Laura's trying to get me to go deeper, really deep, not just, oh, this is what I want, which is usually just another escapism route. What was for me, I want to be here and I want to live here. And that's fine to want to live in certain places, but why? And for me, it was always searching for anything that was outside myself. Even I wanted to move to Belgium, which I really love that place. But if I'm being entirely honest, I feel like that move was to be with other people again, wanting to be in like a herd, wanting to be in a pack and a community, which isn't fine. But again, I feel like it's escaping myself again. I feel like the whole point was to be in the bush or be with people. You're going to be safe either way. And for me, it's not about a location specifically or people or the job, anything. It doesn't matter. Anything. I've been reminding myself to just burn all that away, actually. Just be in the nothingness. And that I've learned that so beautifully from you, Laura, that your voice is in my head all the time. And it's wonderful because it just breaks these little circuits that I had for so long, the looping. It's been fantastic. But sorry to jump back to your question, I got a little bit sidetracked. But being truthful, really truthful, was the most important thing for me. Like, how do I really feel about myself on a really core level? And it was a lot of sadness and unhappiness and acting out behaviors that were just survival mechanisms, and being truthful about all of it and how I really feel in my relationships, like showing up to my friends and saying, no, I actually don't feel okay. Being truthful instead of wearing a mask of being up and positive. It wasn't truthful. Yeah.
Because that's such a massive part of, as we grow up, we kind of develop this outer layer of us that is the way we think the world wants us to be and the way we'll be most accepted and we'll survive, and we'll kind of have this persona that feels like everyone can meet it and love it. And also as a mum as well, we build up these expectations around how we should mother and how we should be with our kids and the things we should do. And then with our partners, where we should be, compliant or agreeable or go along with the flow. And all those places, they seem to kind of just calcify a bit. And we end up in this position. And I've been there, and I know you've been there, and a lot of other women have come there, where it's like we can look around and go, oh my gosh, I'm doing all these things I should be doing, but I'm not really sure if they're in true alignment to me. And that process can be confronting because it's like, wow, I need to relook at a lot of things in my life, reshuffle a lot of things. But on the other hand, it's actually quite simplistic because it's actually just a dropping in and a cutting back of that external to be more you, more connected to you and aligned to you. And you've done some really beautiful things where you've really unfolded that, I suppose, that matrix, and you've shown up in relationships and for yourself in different ways. How has that kind of felt for you to kind of stretch beyond those barriers and show up in friendships and relationships and as a mother in a different way?
Wow, that's a really good question, because that's been one of my biggest takeaways out of many. Yeah, for a long time, it's still something I have to look at every day, make sure I'm not acting from that space. But the people pleasing was huge to me. That was a big survival mechanism I had for many years, just making sure that if they're okay, I'm okay. If everyone else is okay, I'm fine. And yes, and in the course, I shared with you a few situations with friends that were triggering for me. And you were able to help peel the onion layers back of, what if you were to tell them how you felt? What do you think would happen if you were to do that? And at first, the survival part, and it's like, oh no, all the layers of, oh, what do they think of me? And oh, I don't want them to see me as someone who has all these issues around this or that, or is too sensitive, or all those things come at play of how you're perceived. That whole safety thread again for me. And I did say to a few friends, I had to put a few boundaries in place. And even just sharing that, something that happened a while ago, I just want to let you know that was painful for me. And even just doing that piece for me was just amazing. And that was part of that truthful piece again that I've learned from you. Is that being truthful is so important, and not just for them. It's not about them. It's not about anyone else but you. And even just speaking my truth, the power I got from that, I was like, oh, it's cool. It's cool to say your truth. Nothing's happened to me. I'm still safe. I'm still here. That was huge to step into. And what's amazing, Laura, and I was sharing this with you, is it's contagious now. So I was with my dad and we were very surface level. Like, how are you? Oh, I'm good, thanks. How are you? And I've never gotten deep with my dad. And I was able to say to him, many years ago when I was younger and after you separated with my mum and you found a new partner, and then I never saw or really heard from you anymore after that because you started a new chapter in your life and it felt like we weren't a part of that, us children, me and my 3 older sisters. And that was really painful. And saying that to him, I was like, wow. And it's felt like a breeze. And that's something I would never have thought I could have the courage to do because I never have seen it as the way we could converse. It was getting deep in our feelings. But I was able to. I was able just to say to him, Dad, that was really painful.
Wow.
And I said to him, you don't have to do anything with it, but I just need to share that with you. Because I know my daddy gets a little bit defensive if he feels. But that's all, relevant. It was about how I felt anyway. And yeah, it was wonderful. And I was like, whoa, this is really contagious. Because now I feel like I'm coming back to who I am and I'm actually finally saying what I want to say. And I never thought I could do that before, whether it be how I was perceived or if they were to deny my feelings, that fear of what would happen then if they didn't hear me. Oh, that's been amazing for me, liberating in the fact that even if they were to have an adverse reaction to what I'm saying, it doesn't matter. It's okay. I'm still here. I'm still fine. And the choosing myself was something I've learnt from you too, having my own back and not needing someone to validate me through work or personal life, anything. For a long time, I was wanting that validation. Sometimes it pops up even now, but I'm able, thanks to you, Laura, is to see it for what it is. And then I've disconnected again from myself. If I'm wanting that, I'm not in here. I'm not giving it to myself, or I'm not at peace with myself if I'm seeking, whatever it might look like. And that having my own back has been really big too. Like, it's cool. If people don't like me, that is beautiful. That's fine because I've got me. I'm my biggest fan now. I've learned that from you, amongst so many other things. It's just, so many things I could share.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. That contagious truth. That is such a profound way to express that because you're right. Because when you become truthful, everyone else has nowhere to go but be truthful as well. And then the second piece, it's like, and whatever your truth is, I'm good with it because I'm safe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And to have that courage. And I know you would say, no, that's you doing that. But no, it was to have such a safe place to be encouraged to do that. This might sound strange. I was almost see you as like a loving mum that I never had. Like to have someone say, you can do this. I believe that you've got the ability to do this. And it was amazing to have that support from you.
Oh, it's such an honor. Yeah, just your capacity to challenge. So it was like you came in with this willingness to go to the places that you were tentative to go, but then you trusted and you flowed through into those spaces, and just witnessing you get that momentum of like, oh my gosh, if I go the places that I don't want to go or I haven't been before, they're going to open up so much more. So the capacity for you to take that on and run with it, which I think is such a big piece in this work, because it's not just the inner work, very much the reality-based work where we have to stretch ourselves into the new ways of being. Yeah, which is so profound. And I'm just curious for you, some of the processes we did around in the different meditations and the different processing on different levels, the pain and fear and the versions of self and all the different ones. Are there any of those that really spoke to you or really shifted you, or how did you work with the processes in the course that kind of gave you another layer, I suppose, of understanding?
Yes, that's such a wonderful point. I really loved the learning work that we got in the portal as well. I found that very good too. During the week, and it was always very intuitive in the way I'd open the portal and be like, oh, wow, that's a beautiful topic for this week for me. It would really resonate any time I'd open up the portal. I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, that's exactly what I was feeling this week. And the exercises were wonderful. Oh, it's all wonderful. I really love the energy reclamation. That for me really resonated because my whole life has been giving energy to others in many different forms. And so that was like, wow, to actually feel all my energy coming home to me. Wow. It was almost sensory in the way I could feel like tingly. I would get tingly and feeling all my energy, my beautiful energy coming back to me instead of just giving it out like candy to everyone else. It was like, wow, this is what it feels like to be embodied again. Wow. That was really beautiful. And the pain and fear was wonderful too, because I never knew how to access the pain. I never knew where does it go. And obviously it lives in you. And to be taught how to go into the body in a safe place, in a safe way, and find it and sit with it and help just listen to it. And I never knew how to do that before. I was like, well, isn't that what meditate? Isn't that what breath work is, and all those buzzwords you hear, whilst they have their place, of course. But doing it in a way that's really truthful and allowing my body to speak to me instead of trying to push something into it, like, oh, going to wellness events, they all have their places, want to be respectful. Oh, every modality has its place. However, for me, the most truthful work I've ever done is just letting my body speak to me instead of trying to morph it or make it feel okay through manipulative modalities. And I've always done that. And I'm a naturopath, and whilst I love all my herbs and things, I've done all of the herbal medicines and I've done all of this and that. And I was like, why do I still feel sad? Or why do I feel still this feeling of anxiety? And it's because I hadn't actually listened to what my body wants to say to me. And through your meditations, I was able to have the space to not feel rushed, to not have a time limit. I could do it over and over. And even if I'm in the car, I can have it playing and just let my body just have its space and time to talk to me. And what was amazing too was feeling in my body of where it's been sitting for a very long time. And for me, that was my tummy. And I always thought, it's amazing. And I was like, oh, maybe I need to try this herb or this whatever, because I'm getting a bit of bloating. What's that about? Oh, maybe it's this herb. No, it was just that there was so much emotional congestion in my body that I hadn't been listening to for a very long time. And that gave me tingles when I got that realization that, what, Becky, it's not, whilst all those things had their place, of course, food and wellness. But what about what my body's been trying to tell me for so long? Isn't that a modality as well? And that's one I really ignored. You can't walk it away. You can't herb it away. You have to listen. There has to come a time where you have to let your body speak to you. And it's confronting and scary. But for me, it was all in my tummy. Just so much congestion, so many unspoken words and feelings and abandonment. And it was all just spiraling in there. And then I was wondering, oh, why is this happening again in my life? Why is this person mirroring back my abandonment? And I was like, oh, and then it's all just come together in this course, especially the last few weeks for me, especially. I was like, wow, it's all just me. Everything's me. It's all me. You get those tingle moments and it's like it's all been me the whole time, everything. And so I just want to love on myself now. And if I'm feeling triggered, that's beautiful because there's something in there that wants to talk to me. And it's just been amazing.
Oh, Becky, I just feel blown away by your words and your energy and your presence. Because I can feel that full shift of consciousness. And this is so important to me that through this work, it's not about the ongoing meanness, like the involvement of me in your experience. It's the portal through this work for you to orientate yourself into your own consciousness. And from there, begin to have a very resonant, deep, intimate, authentic relationship with yourself. And that is what I'm feeling and hearing from you, that you have the access to the full spectrum version of yourself, to your pain, to your fears, to your triggers, to your thoughts, to your body, to your energy, to your emotions, to how you show up in your reality. And from that, it's almost like you've moved, and I think everyone in this work moves from that sort of more victim to reality space to being the conscious creator, that everything is part of the creation. And I can really feel that in you. And would you say that relationship to your consciousness now is just on a different level?
Very much so. Very much. I'm aware. I'm very curious. I think they're the two biggest things for me now. Before I'd be like, oh, why is this person treating me like that? Or, oh, gee, I mustn't mean very much to them. Or the stories that would play in my head, I'd play that game for days, weeks. But now I get curious. If someone says something to me, I'm like, oh, okay. Or I feel left out. Because abandonment's a big thread for me. That was one of my many core wounds that I was able to discover and acknowledge. And so if I feel that little poke at that wound again, I'm like, okay, is that good? Good, feel the pain of that. And then we're going to sit with ourselves and we're going to have a bit of a look at what's inside. And it's so wonderful to feel empowered as opposed to a victim, as you were saying. I'm in control here. I'm in control of how I feel, not other people. They've got nothing to do with how I feel, actually. It's not about them. It was never about anyone else. It's an amazing thing to be just so honest with myself. And as I mentioned, curious is a big one. Because if I'm curious, then I'm not putting a label. I'm not putting a story on something. I'm staying open. I'm able to follow the breadcrumbs because it's never usually isolated. Those feelings you come up like, oh, why are they treating me like that? If you go back, it's been happening for a while, a long time usually. And for me, it definitely was that feeling of being left out, feeling abandoned, not important, cast aside. That was huge.
Wow.
And now if I feel that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's okay. Hey, it's cool. It's cool. And actually, I'm almost in a place where I want to almost thank that person. They wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. But it's almost like, thank you. Oh, thank you. It was never about a pat on the head. It was never about that. It was about, okay, I don't need it. I need to give it to myself. It was never about the seeking. Yeah, it's been really that curiosity, as you say, just be curious. That's stuck with me. Just be curious. Try not to label, get stuck to the story. Just sit back and be curious. And then feel, and then of pain inside. It's always going to be inside somewhere, and it's always hiding somewhere. It's just been incredible.
Amazing. So if someone's listening and they're like, oh, I feel like that might work or not, might not work, or kind of curious about it, what would you say to someone that's kind of maybe stuck in a bit of a loop and like, oh, I don't know if this is something that's going to apply to me, done a lot of work probably, but just not sure whether it's possible?
Oh, I would say it most certainly is. And, I reached out to Laura for the first time, and then she said, oh, no, you can come on in. We've started a few weeks in, come and join in. But I felt this feeling of, oh, I don't know. And I did get a bit scared. And a part of me was very shameful of what I was feeling too. Feeling that meant to play. I was like, oh, no, I can sort it out. I'm just being silly. I can sort it out. I'm just, going through a phase. But it's the best thing I've ever done. And it's the most nurturing, safe place I've ever been in, because it's quite exposing and it makes you feel really vulnerable sharing what you've been going through and what you're feeling. And for me, I felt embarrassed, because I would get my main presenting symptom, if you will, was feeling very caught in my head of I'd be doing list making and I'd be churning a lot on, to be honest, quite irrelevant things. And I felt a bit embarrassed about that. I was like, what's wrong with me? People have very serious things going on, and what's my problem? But it's been the best thing I've ever done going to a law, because it wasn't silly and it wasn't isolated. And to then get deeper with that pain, it's been very liberating now. It wasn't just about the list making, as I've learnt from you. It was a symptom of some very deep fear and pain that's been there my whole life. And if I didn't work on it now, imagine the other modalities, the other time that I would have spent just chasing, trying to come home to myself, essentially, just looping, trying to just come home. And what I've learnt from you, and to me, ultimately now, it's the only way. And I'm a little biased, I know, but it's the only way. You got to feel the pain and the feelings. Otherwise, you're just going to stay in that surface realm of chasing and seeking. You've got to get down into the deep layers. And that was the only way for me. And I felt so safe doing it with you, because it wasn't pressured, it wasn't raced. It was stay curious, and I'm here. And the support as well that you get in the group, you can message anytime. And at first I was like, oh, wow, I don't want to bother her. But you were so welcoming. Like, no, I want you to share. I want to hear from you and how you're doing. And that was amazing, because some days you'd feel low and you're like, oh, it's okay. I'll just sort of keep pushing through. And having that space to go, no, I'm actually feeling low, as opposed to having to wait for another week or the next catch up, was amazing. Because it's when you're in those low places, that's when you need someone to have that hand and say, if you could try, why don't you try this, or why don't you try that? That was amazing for me. And you're so intuitive as well. I feel like the things you'd say to me in the group, I was like, wow, yep, that's it. You've nailed it. And you'd give me these beautiful things to do. And it was like, wow, okay, now I get it. Whereas when you're in it, sometimes you can't see it. So to have that thought and have those words of, could you potentially try this today? And it was like, wow, yep, I get it now. So it's just amazing. But I would definitely say to anyone, do it. Yes, I'm biased after doing the course, but truly I was very much like, oh, I'll be fine, or oh, why don't I try this or that? And then obviously, I had a bit of issues around money too. I was like, oh, but I could just save that money and do something else. Or no, it was the best, from a financial point of view, it was the best thing I've ever done. And I'd probably do it again, because this is where the real work is. And why chase my tail doing other modalities, which again have their place, but I want to really meet myself, not be hiding anymore, and do the real work. And I feel like this is the real work. It's not always pretty. It's not always pretty work, but it's the real work for me. There's no other way for me, to be honest. This is the only way. Yeah. And the support from you has just been incredible, Allura. Amazing. Yeah.
Oh, Becky, I'm so just deeply honored by your words, but more so for me, your commitment to you and your truth and that ripple effect for humanity, because it is about us. It is about us doing the work, and it's about this consciousness. But it's almost like when I hear you speak, I just hear this huge amount of potential of this releasing from these loops and these cycles of feeling trapped and feeling stuck into this beautiful space of liberation and, as you say, truth and a love for yourself that is just so far beyond that limited version. And for me, hearing you speak into that and knowing that is how you are going to have your relationship with consciousness and your reality and everyone around you, the ripple effect of that is going to go far beyond your life. Everyone around you is going to benefit from you having done this work for yourself. So I just want to deeply honor you and just say it's been my absolute deepest pleasure to witness you and support you through this. And I'm just so grateful that you now feel you can embody and spread that wherever you go. So thank you so much, Becky.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll always have your beautiful words of wisdom in my head too. The support was just so penetrative, the support you give in terms of I'd be out and about and I'd be feeling that loop coming up and then your words would just drop in. It was amazing. It was incredible.
Thank you so much, beautiful. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you. And to say thank you, I'd like to share with you 3 beautiful meditations to explore your core wounding and a collection of masterclasses. You'll find these in your show notes. And if you feel the synergy to this path, know that it is available to you also.